And not bad odds for the 5 lights to go out over here as they have, and we have begun racing. Going side by side, going into back into back into almost 3 wide. So Alex Joseph has sent in once again, has sent Fury into he has retired from this race. Turns on, there it goes, Wizard of Oz. Clearly on the charts. These huge collision. Hello everyone and welcome to Jeddah round 4 of season 12. We're back with F125 as a tier, and the session has already begun, so we won't hold up much of your time. Today it is myself, SimplyYT, and Kapil in the comms box who's also streaming. And of course, let's not forget, all of this wouldn't be possible without our very near and dear partner RaceSims. Do check them out, the link is in the description, and also join our server if you would like to catch a nice and sweet discount off of that website.
Alright, let's jump into the action, shall we? We're already into qualifying. Action is hot. It's a tough track. Just give me 1 sec. Yeah. We've got Sandeep Maridu running around without a front wing. You love to see that.
Certainly, and looks like Cody's have really done their job because it's quite detailed. The broken front wing. You can really see what is behind that nose cone that would be covering that area, and so far Sandeep, he's not too far off even with a broken wing. He's at 28.7, and right now P1 is Helium with a 27.4, I think, and King James in the racing books is not too far away from him. Of course, we're missing a few drivers today, and naturally it is because we are starting a race quite a bit earlier. Please trust us, this is just a potential one-off because of obviously the Hungarian Grand Prix that is in real life that will be following this, and obviously we don't want to go too late into the night with our races. So this is the current scene. We have Deepak, who has already retired without setting a lap, Dark Knight, who has just done an F123 race and is regretting doing it because the F125 handling is completely different. So I think he's going to have some adapting issues, especially in the race. But so far, a P3 provisionally is not bad for him.
Okay, I think this is a visual glitch because he just put in a purple first sector. Sandeep Maridu is just rocking it out there. No care in the world. Physics does not apply to the Kick Sauber team here. Simply just smashing it.
He's just trying to get a podium just like Nico Hulkenberg. Although Sandeep has gotten a few podiums in his IRC racing career, if you would like to say that. But yes, he hasn't really gotten one so far in this season. So I'm sure he has his eyes set on at least a P3 finish, at least today, because I know while talking to him earlier, he did mention that he has a little bit better pace than Dark Knight, at least in time trials. So let's see if that will reflect or rather amount to anything in qualifying right now, as he is coming across the line. Where will he put his car up? In P2 with a 28.2. So clearly his statement somewhat coming into fruition as he is ahead of Dark Knight right now. Oxygen, okay. There's no way there's multiple cars without his nose cone appears to be
This is an IRC special here.
But I guess his nose cone is actually broken because he's understeering like crazy. Oxygen's nose cone may actually be broken. This is...
Oh no, it's everybody.
Okay. This game is something else.
I don't want to I don't want to leave the session and rejoin because I feel this is a feature for Jeddah. So we're gonna keep it today. Let's see if it carries over to the race session. But yeah, Aradhya on his push lap. Didn't exactly catch what he did, but yeah, everybody on the soft tires right now. Second run. Oh, he's booping the wall there. making sure that he gives it a little love tap. I mean, it's not gonna necessarily affect his front wing because there is none. But yeah, he's soldiering on a 1 minute point 8, drifting a little wide there, but all good so far.
Yeah, I think Aradhya knows it himself that he can go a little bit better in certain places. Certainly, not breaking the front wings to begin with, and post that, yeah, his sector two was a little bit messy. Even the final corner just lost his rear there a little bit. He's gonna finish the lap because it's always good habit to set a banker, which is a 27.9, despite a scruffy lap, as he would admit so as well. So this sure is going to be quite interesting coming up. Maybe perhaps we can see a battle between Helium and Aradhya for the podium, as we see easy level bot in Sector 2. Now he's just finished Sector 1 a little bit. I think he's on an out lap, or not sure what sort of a lap he's on. Certainly not a quick one. But he is in the middle of nowhere, at least on track, which is a blessing in disguise, because the dirty air, not only on this game but on this track, is just so annoying to deal with. It is genuinely a blessing in disguise that you have, dirty air in front of you, no other car in front of you. I think perhaps he can try and work something out with his teammate Faizan, as in terms of a slipstream, but I think right now that could be off the cards. 7.5 minutes remaining in qualifying. Easy level bot is going into the pits. Not sure what he did by coming out, but so far no times on the board for him. King James is on a
Ooh, wowee.
slow one.
He actually has a front wing for once.
Yep, his front wing has decided not to do black magic, as King James is using up his battery now. What is
He's on an out
think
lap.
I think what drivers are doing, couple, because I heard complaints from the last race as well about the tires just not heating up, even the softs. Just one lap is just not enough to heat them up, especially in the formation lap. So I think what they're doing is one out lap followed by a warm up lap and then a hot lap to get some temperature into the tires, because if you recall from F1 23, where you could just use the brakes to heat up your tires, such is no longer the case. The brakes are as good as, well, to stop the car and not heat the tires up. So that is surely interesting. And Faizan, this could actually be a broken wing, because it is Faizan, but we're not sure as of yet. I think he's fine. It's just glitched out. And these cars do look quite hilarious without their front wings. King James, I think he's starting his proper lap now. A little bit of network issues from his side, but so far so good. Not a bad exit out of turn 1, using up a little bit of battery. And yes, of course, battery management very important. Fourth gear for this right-hander before you're immediately on power. Make sure not to get that exit curb. Stick really close to the walls through this S section. Of course, not touching the outside massive curbs, because they absolutely take your car and throw you into the wall. Good first sector, apologies, from King James so far, and I think the timing has to be bugged, because there's no way he's 4 seconds down on
He's
his
deploying, so he very well might just be taking it easy.
could be, yeah.
Could be just a banker lap.
His banker's already in the 28.4. Dark Knight, teammate of Helium, 28.1. He's improved on his last lap, but he has time for one more. So I'm sure he's going to rush back into the pits, get a new set of softs, and go right back out and try and challenge Aradhya now for that P2 position.
That was a nice send and a half from Oxygen. He is pushing it there. 30% on the ERS, last sector. Very nice exit, I must say. Now going in to the last corner. How is he going to fare? He did a 129.3. Definitely going to be an improvement this time around. But how much is the question? It's 8 tenths. Goes into the 28s finally. But yeah, still a wee bit off the rest of the pack.
Yeah, he's gonna have to rush into the pits here, so that he has enough time for one final run. And some people in the chat are calling this inactive aero as opposed to active aero that we're supposed to get next year. So, well, creativity in the chat never disappoints us. Render Richik certainly an interesting name. In the Mercedes, accompanying Aradhya Gupta this week, he is a reserve, so you're gonna see him in multiple different cars throughout the season, going a little bit wide there and taking the sausage for good measure as well. That is gonna throw his car off, and once again, it looks like the sausage curbs are something he's not really afraid to take and ride on. And Render Richik looks like, yeah, he's abandoned the lap. Fair enough. Wasn't worth continuing anyways. King James is still looking to improve. Easy level bot in the Aston Martin. That Aston Martin sure does look really good under the lights. And he's on medium battery, so he is deploying. This is his lap. A lot of understeer going off. Not an invalidation, but he has surely lost quite a bit of time going through the first sector. He hasn't set a lap yet, so we cannot judge as to if he's going faster or slower. But that 33 does seem to be a tad bit slower naturally because of the mistake he has made going through the section of S's that is there in sector 1. A little bit scruffy on the exit of this corner as well, which is actually very
Really
important
deploying.
because you can see DRS. Yep, he's deploying his battery, but he's not deploying it too much, just conserving a little bit here and there, down to 5th, and back on power immediately as this circuit is. Majority of the lap is spending on power, and yeah, he is on the throttle, but he's not using up his ERS. Is he going for Is he going for back-to-back runs? I think he might.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure. Um, He's out of fuel? No? I don't know. It's a very odd place to be off throttle.
Yeah, I mean, something's going on with easy level bot.
Yeah, he's on low fuel, so I don't know what he's doing because he's just shot himself in the foot. He can't go back to the pits. He's validated this lap. He won't have time to go back, so yeah, that's kind of curtains for his day.
Yeah, qualifying's pretty much over for him. Now he just has to go back into the pits and sit there and watch others, as we are watching Aradhya Gupta, who's on an outlap in Helium, has not come out yet, and we don't know if he has any plans on coming out of the pits just yet. But if he wants to, now is the time, because then he won't have any time left, matter of fact. Actually, yeah, he doesn't have any time left, so I think Helium, confident enough to sit in the pits and watch on from the pits. Of course, he'll be watching on Aradhya Gupta as well as his teammate, who could potentially try and nab that position away from Aradhya Gupta. Render Richik, and now from the final corner, yeah, this is a really bad lap, but I think he is going for one more. He has a little bit of battery left on him into turn 1 now, down to second. A very tight line from him, short shifting to third before the corner even comes. Full throttle. I think he is using some levels of traction control. Not sure how much. Aradhya Gupta starting his lap. Now all eyes will be on Aradhya as well as his teammate. Helium has retired from the session. He has called it right there. Aradhya so far pretty decent, getting close to the wall as he should. On 5th gear, on power, getting really close to the walls. Remember, he is on a controller, and if you don't want to be in a Aradhya situation, head on over to Race Sims and use a code for a sweet discount on some really good wheels. Coming back to Aradhya Gupta, then coming across the first sector and up by 3/10, and if he continues on like this, he could potentially nab away that position from Helium, but so far he will need to find even more time through sector 2, which he did lose quite a bit of time last time around, and he is so far so good, getting really close to the wall, not hitting it. So yeah, he's definitely gained quite a bit of time going through sector 2 now with the DRS open on the straights, just flat out until you get to a medium speed left-hander 5th gear. Immediately back on power. Great line from Aradhya. He is absolutely sending it at this point. DRS enabled, sticking close to the walls on the left, and then moving right back out to get that racing line into the final corner, breaking down to third, very close to the wall, hits the wall a little bit. That will cost him time because of that lose on the exit, and he is trying to finish a lap. And where will he finish? 27.6. He's lost time, as a matter of fact. Render Richie getting a penalty. Dark Knight also improves, but not enough to get that P2. Sandeep Maridu is the next car to cross the lane. He could potentially get one of the top 3 positions over here. And easy level bot coming across the line. No improvement from him. Sandeep Maridu then in the kick Sauber with the DRS enabled, coming across the line, is able to get into the top three, though improves, but still a little too far, 200s away from Dark Knight's P3. King James up next, who was almost blocked by an Aston Martin. Not sure who that was. I believe Faizan could have been it, who's also crawling back into the pits. Now he's in P7. King James then deploying all of his ERS with the battery across the line. Can he get into the top four positions? No, everyone improved on their final runs, but no one had it enough in them to get anywhere. And Render Richik is, well, not improving. He has certainly slowed down. He's out of fuel by the looks of it. So that is it for your qualifying here in Jeddah.
Amazing stuff. That was a great first sector from Aradhya, but he had a bit of oversteer in the middle sector that lost him time all through the straights. He wasn't able to capitalize. The scruffy middle sectors was took him down. And let's look at the race director and see that single lap. He's made a statement, hasn't he, Hacker? With who is Helium? He's done one single lap to stay on pole position. Aradhya Gupta, decent second sector, definitely look to be leading. Dark Knight with a 27.9 in V3. Sandeep Maridu just 200s behind him. That's how close it is. The second row of the grid. King James with a 28.1. Won't be too happy with that. Yeah, that's qualifying, and it's important because this isn't the easiest track to follow in Sector 1, but if you can, then you set yourself up perfectly to be making a move at the second end of the lap. It's all about making sure that you're sticking with the car behind. You've got that I wouldn't call it drag necessarily, but you have the stability to stick behind the car closely. And once that's all good, you are in prime position to overtake.
Absolutely, that first sector is really crucial because, especially as the car falling, you'll have to lift off in places you don't really expect to lift off the throttle, but you do if you want to keep a car in one piece. Certainly, you lose a couple tenths here and there, but it is worth giving up that time because then at the end of the day, you won't lose too much as long as you get your lines correct and you'll stay within a second. So, yeah, you'll still have DRS, even though you won't get that until much, much later in the lap. But yes, staying within that 1 second is absolutely crucial here. And yeah, the tire strategies as well, now that we're on the grid, very, very important because we saw a mix of tire strategies in the F1 23 race we had just over an hour ago with the multiple drivers trying out multiple different things. So it will be quite interesting to see what these guys do. It could be that all of them are on the same strategy. Maybe there's a one meta strategy that really just works, and there could also be just multiple different strategies. If we can go to race director couple just to check that, yeah, everyone seems to be on the mediums so far. Oh, Aradhya switched to hard. So yeah, we're gonna see some slight discrepancies. What I would see, what I would suggest is perhaps maybe a hard to medium or a medium hard could be on the cards because soft is just, well, it wears out really quickly. So it's not really worth taking in the race as a full on stint. But towards the end, if there is a safety car, then softs are a good shout. But yeah, medium hard or hard medium could be it.
Yeah, and safety cars are not unheard of in Jeddah, especially as you do it lap after lap. First sector, your tire's going to be wearing out. You have to constantly keep changing the lines. You cannot attack it the same way you do in quali. You got to lift. You got to trust the tires. And the smallest, not corrections, but if you're a little too late turning in, that's
Yeah.
curtains. So you've seen a lot of the drivers during their first and second stints brush the wall. So expect more of the same here.
Absolutely. Quite a lot of wall brushing and plate flying is what we could be expecting upcoming in the race. We have the formation lap now with quite a few drivers on the hards. Actually, the top three are all on hards. Apologies. Sandeep Maridu is the only one who's on mediums. So Yeah, top three on hards and everybody else on mediums, as a matter of fact. So this could be, well, quite defining, because the top three, while they do have a lot of pace, uh, just the wrong tires on the start could not be it. And as I was mentioning earlier, couple, that during the formation lap for the last couple of rounds, the drivers have been complaining that the tires just don't heat up, even if they're on the softs. There's absolutely no temperature in them, and of course, as we all know, the hard is just a tire which refuses to change temperatures as easily as perhaps a medium or even a soft, for that matter. So starting on the hards could be a disadvantage in the first few laps, and as they start warming up, as they start getting their grip, then perhaps the medium runners could be at a disadvantage, because obviously you can take the hards quite long. So we will have to see how this race turns out for the top three, and certainly for the rest as well, because I'm sure they're hoping to nab away, at least Sandeep Marito and King James are hoping to nab away a position or two on the podium.
Yeah, just a note on Renderchik. He had a 5 plays grid penalty at the end of quali. That's why, though Deepak did near or nothing, we missed what happened to him. So we'll catch up with him when if he has a good result. He's still ahead of Renderchik. Yeah.
Yep. So that 5 plays grid penalty plus a very bad qualifying is not something that Render Richard wants, but I'm sure he is hoping for a better race to be coming up for him. As all the cars are lining up on the grid, and I'm sure Darky usually likes facing his car in the complete opposite direction of the grid spot. Yeah, and Helium has turned his car a little bit to the left to try and cut off Aradhya Gupta, and Aradhya Gupta has been reset onto his grid because he has missed his spot. So any time now is when we will be going, as we have no lights just yet. 3 lights, 4, 5 lights, and away we go. Helium with a really good start. Aradhya Gupta trying to keep that P2, but Dark Knight was trying to fight for that position. Sandeep Maridu on those mediums getting a really good start, and next to Dark Knight right now, still going side by side, there is King James and Oxygen. Oxygen getting past King James on the side, so he's clearly had a very good launch off of the grid, and this contact between Dark Knight and Faizan. Faizan gets spun around in the Aston Martin, and he is not as far back. There's another incident in the back. Deepak has been caught up in it, and he potentially has a broken wing. Quite genuinely this time, not the glitch or what we're seeing in qualifying. Easy level bot perhaps in that incident too. Render Richik, has moved up into P7, and he is, well, obviously trying to gain quite a lot of positions. Dark Knight losing out on the position. Sandeep Baridu in P3, 6 tenths away from Aradhya Gupta. And this whole track is just about ERS management to keep that straight line. So I'm sure Sandeep will be trying to save a decent amount of battery and deploying it in really smart ways, because that is exactly what you need to do. Faizan, who was spun around by an incident with the Dark Knight, is already on the rear of Render Richik. And I think he's going to try. Maybe not on this lap because they don't have DRS just yet. Render Richik actually gone off wide, so now Faizan is actually going to try using up all of his ERS down the inside, and has made the move before the final corner itself, and that has been him moving up into P7. Now he's obviously going to try and recover quite a few positions, perhaps try and finish in the top 5 where he was close enough to in the qualifying.
Yep. Two losers, big losers here. Faizan with that contact, and Deepak as well. Renderajik looks to be falling quite quickly. Oh, he's going side by side with easy level bot. Finally getting some action from this Williams driver. They touch a bit, but both make it out alive. Now the question is, who's going to yield first? And it looks like easy level bot is the one to concede. Smart move there, considering that it's a long race. You don't want to be losing front wings. So yeah, finally Deepak is back in the action.
Absolutely. It's, as you said, a very good decision from easy level bot. Plenty of laps remaining in this race, and if anything, Deepak and easy level bot, if they do wish to do so, they can actually work with each other in a sense to try and catch up with the rest of the pack that is up ahead of them instead of just fighting for the final positions here in this grid. For now, Oxygen is on 70% battery, so he's been managing it quite well. Now he has DRS on Dark Knight. Does Dark Knight have DRS on Sandeep? By the looks of it, no. So Dark Knight, who started off in P3, is under quite a lot of pressure. He's saving his battery. You can see his recharge light is blinking. Now he'll deploy on the straight, but he is lacking that DRS. That slipstream and the DRS is really, really powerful over here. And as you can see, Oxygen flying past Dark Knight before even going into turn 1 makes the move. And all Dark Knight can do is take a deep breath because Oxygen is right in front of him.
Wow, that was like a missile, absolutely smashed through a Dark Knight. And I have a feeling that Dark Knight chose to be a little smart. They said, oh, who's not gonna make a move so quickly? It's a little too early. But boy, was he caught off guard. That was a smashing overtake by Oxygen. He moves up into P4.
Yep, but now Oxygen is gonna have to deal with Dark Knight, who has a lot more battery, and that is Port Deepak, who has spun out, and he will surely be exclaiming, what are these tires? Because he certainly does not seem to be having any grip in them, and a very, very bad race opening for Deepak, as it's only been 3 laps. It's not a bad race just yet. Perhaps there could be some recovery that could happen on his side. Helium has pulled away just a little bit. Aradhya Gupta still within 1 second of him. Both of them are hard runners, and here's Dark Knight on Oxygen, getting past, not waiting to do any DRS chicken, nothing. He's like, I'm gonna go ahead and you can watch my rear, Oxygen. As Oxygen, well, now he's gonna have the DRS, so there could be some position swapping happening here as well. He doesn't have as much battery, they're already under 10%, almost out of battery. Not gonna be the easiest move, just like it was the last lap, and side by side, and he makes the move done into turn 2, actually, as a matter of fact. And that is a really, really tough fought battle between Dark Knight and Oxygen, which is not done just yet.
Yeah, that's some great tussling there between the two. It's exactly what we want to see on track, keeping it clean, not unnecessarily slowing each other down. I hope, I mean, they do want to get ahead the field. Deepak is the first person to pit. He's had that spin last lap around, so he's jumped in. Let's see what tires he puts on. This is the crucial stage, and the game really not liking the pit box. Everything looks really laggy. Now, I'm pretty sure that yeah, the stop. Oh yeah, it was a little slow because of the front wing change, I'm presuming. No wonder he would have boxed that early. But he is now nearly 40 seconds from the rest of the pack. That's unfortunate.
Yep, and really bad for him. I was going to mention something, I'll hold it out just for now, because Dark Knight, once again with the DRS, getting past Oxygen. But now Oxygen is going to have the DRS for the upcoming straight. And once again, can we see a repeat of the last 2 laps? Oxygen with a decent exit, could have been better, I'm sure. And has the DRS, is he using his DRS? Yeah, but I think he's given up on the move. Dark Knight just did enough to stay just that little bit ahead of Oxygen to not get caught up in an overtake. And yeah, I think they can focus on catching Sandeep now, as Easy Level Bot has focused on getting past Render Richik, who is completely out of ERS at this point and seems to be struggling just a little bit with his pace, possibly because of what incidents he was caught up in on the first lap. Dark Knight actually doing quite well now. He's pulled away a second from Oxygen, but he's not catching up. As a matter of fact, he's losing time to Sandeep Maridu. So I think Sandeep is doing very, very well. And that is the first penalty of the race. 3 seconds to King James for multiple warnings. And yeah, he's not going to do himself any favors while being at P7, 8 seconds away from the next car on track, which is Faizan. So yeah, his realistic battle is with Easy Level Bot and Render Richik. Or perhaps maybe not Render Richik and just Easy Level Bot. So yeah, we will keep an eye on what's happening at the back of the pack with those guys. But for now, everything has calmed down. Heenan has actually pulled away. He's just over that 1 second mark, so Aradhya is not going to get that DRS, but he sure is going to get quite a lot of dirty air from Helium. So We will see. Now these drivers are just going to manage their tires, just manage their pace, make sure they're not making any mistakes, because it is very easy to do so on this track because of the close proximity to the walls. So I'm sure things will be shaken up post the pit stops.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lull period right now. Just gotta put your head down. Easy level parts probably not gonna do that. But King James is just escaping the picture altogether. Oh, why am I doing this again and again? One sec. Yeah. By pitting onto
Hans.
the hard tires. Yeah, that's an early pit stop. So looking to probably will be a multi-stop. That's a change of front wing too. No wonder it was so early into the race.
Yeah. Well, what I was wanting to say earlier was that I'm not sure about this game because I have driven just 5 lappers on this game, haven't really driven much. But what we saw earlier in the F1 23 race was Sai Tarun, who is a experienced driver in our league, was taking the hards for about 20-22 laps. So if the tire wear is around the same, and if these drivers can manage the hards, especially King James and Deepak, who have pit extremely early, it could be possible that they might have a small chance of finishing in some decent positions today. I wouldn't say that they could be fighting for anything with absolute certainty, because by that time their tires would have absolutely been destroyed, especially Deepak's, because he pit on lap 2 or 3, if I'm not wrong. So that is something we will have to keep an eye out on. But yeah, let's not remove them from the mix just yet.
Absolutely. So looking at the ERS battle, I mean it's just a little over 1 second right now, teetering on the edge from time to time, especially towards the end of the lap. Aradhya is definitely in a better condition. He can push as and when needed. He's he's on 60% as compared to now. You can see Helium kind of push back, and this is where he's pushing again. He's maintaining maybe an average of 35 to 40 as compared to, let's say, 50 to 60 from Aradhya. So it's definitely a mind game situation right now. When is he going to burst? When is he going to pull out? When is he going to make that move? And I need to be ready, but I can't let him get too close. But I can't, blow my own race, my own strategy out of the window. Can't be, pushing that hard that you wear your tires too much and also lose all that ERS. This is as close as it has been in the last 3 laps, just over a second. But then again, you can see from the ERS management here, Aradhya is not losing his composure. He's taking it easy. He knows it's a long game. You can see from lap to lap, Hacker has that the sideways entry, at least from the spectator view. Obviously, it will not look like that to him because he's clearly driving off into the distance. But yeah, I think this looks to be the stronger point. But at this junction, particularly, Helium has not done a good job, and the gap is reduced just above 1 second. And I think now is an opportunity for Aradhya to start pushing.
Absolutely. I think Aradhya was hoping for something like this, because this is a wheel track, if we're being honest. And yeah, well, if you don't want to be in Aradhya's situation, as I was saying earlier, being on a controller, which does give you clear disadvantage, and especially in this game, this whole game favors wheel. As a matter of fact, with those smoother inputs, you just get lesser tire wear. Everything is just a smoother experience. So if you don't want to be on a controller while you are playing this game, do go check out Race Sims and nab yourself some really, really good wheels from Sim Magic Conspert and even Moza, as a matter of fact. So yeah, everything for everybody. There's even some rigs on there. So if you want to go full proper doubly sync setup, then you absolutely can. While Aradhya loses his rear on the exit of the final corner, but he has the DRS. That is the crucial point, because even though he isn't close, he still has the DRS. He can save his battery quite a lot now. And yeah, Helium's battery is flashing. So either, yeah, he is saving his battery Yeah, 22% as opposed to Arad is, what is it, 30, 40? Still an advantage in a sense. And yeah, I mean, you can just see that if Helium really nails this sector, he's pulling away 3 tenths. Aradia was well within the 3 seconds, apologies, 1 second of Helium, but yeah, he's just lost 4 tenths there just through the mid sector. So this is all Helium needs to do. Aradia could potentially gain on the straights by using up his ERS, or maybe here and there he can gain some time, but especially through that first sector, if Helium just nails it every single lap, I think Helium will be ahead. And yeah, Aradia has clearly made a mistake somewhere. He's lost a little bit of time, but he is recovering that time by using up his ERS. So yeah, I'm sure that is going to force Helium to dump a bit of his ERS as well. And so yeah, this is going to be a really, really tight battle all the way until the end. That's for sure.
Yeah, something that I keep noticing is that um, as we come towards the end, the last sector, the gap does come down a fair bit. Not in this occasion, which is again confusing me a bit. It really looks to be that these folks are deploying their ERS at different points in the lab. You can definitely see the gap always increase in sector 1. That's partly because of the dirty air, yes, and that's partly because I can see. Let's have a look this time around. We've got 1.3 seconds, which is again starting to eke out by 10 by 10. Helium is making his move, probably better tire management, better lines, or just a better driver maybe. But yeah, this is where that gap always increases. It's gone up to nearly 1.5 seconds right now, and sector 2 is where Arendja is really been shining. He's always brought down the gap maybe by a tenth or two, and then it's anybody's game in sector 3. So that's how I'm visualizing these times kind of fluctuate lap on lap. Um, so we'll have to see if anyone makes a big mistake, especially as the tires now slowly start to fade. These both are on the hard tires, so they are going to go at least up to 5 laps more, 5 to 6 laps more. We'll have to wait and watch who blinks first.
Yeah, that undercut as well is very powerful, to be honest. If you find the exact correct time where your tires will only fall off on the last lap, I think if you can just figure that out, so and then obviously pit earlier than the car ahead, I think you are pretty much in a really good spot because well, this is a track that does eat up your tires, and having fresher tires gives you obviously a lot of performance and a lot of time gain. So if someone's on say 60% mono tires and you're on fresh ones, you can easily gain 2.5 seconds a lap, as Renderich gets 3 seconds. Second drive to pick up some penalties, but he's in last, so it will not affect his position. But yeah, so the tire management is very important. Oxygen coming into the pits will be going on to hards for sure, and Faizan follows him as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
But yeah, tire management really important. Go on, Pavan.
Yeah, so Dark Knight was pushing a lot last lap. He nearly burnt all of his ears out to try to get into that 1 second barrier. He failed, and now you're gonna see that gap increase. Sandeep definitely looks to have that edge in terms of the raw pace and management in itself during the race. So Dark Knight will need to get his wits about him to be a little more smart here, because he can't just be chucking ERS. Now he is back in that harvesting mode. Looks like these the game is a lot more favorable in terms of the charging. Within a sector, he's already got back 50%, and then just like that, by holding on to ERS for a few seconds, is already back in the DRS. It's switching so drastically between the two of them. Um, yeah, this is anybody's game right now. Are they going to jump into the pits? We'll have to see. It may be a little too early for Dark Knight, but Sandeep is on those medium tires, which is coming to the end of their life. Gap is coming down a lot, and yeah, it was a wise decision to kind of not hold himself up and battle Dark Knight back in the podium position.
Exactly, a great observation from you, Kapil. That ERS very easy to recover, very easy to lose. So yeah, ERS management, all sorts are very important. Faizan on a fresh pair of hards, now on the rear of King James, who has yet to pit. Do correct me if I'm wrong. And he is continuing on. He's not going to make it easy for Faizan, that's for sure. But will Faizan make it easy for King James? He's having an eye down the inside. He sends it down the inside and gets the move done really clean from Faizan. Or is it? It is. King James almost had a switchback going then, but clearly much older tires just are not giving him enough grip. And King James 3 seconds and he has hit the wall. Yeah, he's missing the end plate there. So his race going from bad to worse at this present moment.
He did make a pit stop, so it was definitely for position between Python and King James. But yeah, he's going to be kicking himself. He did come in early because he had that damage. He will definitely pit again, or he was scheduled to pit again. Yeah, it would be unlikely that he would have been able to take his hearts all the way. But he's definitely going to have to make another stop.
Aradhya's in the box.
Yeah, talking about pit stops, the first one to blink in the lead pack is Aradhya Gupta going away from those hard tires to the medium in lap 13, so it's a 50-50 split. The Ferraris lead 1-2. Dark Knight is yet to pit 2. The gap is quite substantial, it must be said. You know, Aradhya and Helium just flying away from the rest of the pack, and it's just with a pit stop. He's just under 5.5 seconds to Dark Knight. That is the pace that the top two have been going through throughout the first half of the race. So this is fantastic. The King James has retired from the session.
In the pits.
In the pits.
No safety cars.
No safety car. No action. No drama. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's quite surprising. Honestly, you don't really see a Saudi Arabian race without safety cars, and so far 13 laps in, nothing as of yet. And I'm sure, I think, just by knowing Helium and Dark Knight for the years that I have known them, I think it's very obvious what the strategy is here. Helium will pit, and Dark Knight will stay out. And as Aradhya catches up to Dark Knight, he's gonna hold him up, and Helium's gonna catch up. So essentially, a recreation of what Sergio Perez did to Lewis Hamilton in Abu Dhabi 2021. If you would like to recall that, if you're not a Hamilton fan, that is. And no,
That is not
well,
what is happening though.
both of them have gone into the pits. That is certainly interesting because I mean, no issues for Helium. He's gonna pit and he's gonna come out, but it's going to be a lot of issues for Dark Knight because, well, I'm sure Helium needed his wingman with him now that he is on the mediums, and well, Dark Knight is going to lose 2 positions here, one to Oxygen and one to Sandeep Maridu. So clearly not creative thinking from the Ferrari strategists once again, or perhaps in this case it is them because, well, we don't have race engineers here.
Yeah, Dark Knight slipping in back into P4. Oxygen was very close, but he was unable to make that move and get in front of Dark Knight. So Dark Knight has those fresh tires now. He's going to be bolting, and I do want to make that statement. In that outlap of Aradhya Gupta with those fresh medium tires, he killed what was 5.5 seconds, and it was nearly 3 seconds at the end of the lap. So blistering pace from him in that outlap, and that's clearly what you can see, that 2 second gap. He was nearly, he was -1, now he's got a +2. Helium has gone down, but he's got that single lap advantage. Now how he manages that advantage as the race progresses, how will Aradhya manage it, that is what we're going to watch as time comes. But as of right now, we have a new race leader with the fastest lap, 130.6 to Aradhya Gupta.
Absolutely. Dark Knight's already caught up to Sandeep Maridu, who was on the hards, and I think this will be a fairly easy move because he's very close and he has the DRS. No need to even use the ERS as a matter of fact. Yeah, Sandeep's not going to fight it either. Just doesn't make sense to do that. He's going to try and hang on at least for Dark Knight, which is not a bad thing to do because Dark Knight is slightly incident prone on this track, as he mentioned. So I think just staying within, even if Sandeep had to drop off, say within 3-4 seconds, I think I'll still be fine, because if there's any mistakes or anything that could potentially compromise Dark Knight's race, he will be there to just nab away that position from him and get on the podium. So I think for now, that is something we'll have to see. And what we are seeing is, as you said, blistering pace from Helium as well now, because he's caught up a second and a half in a matter of one lap. So clearly, Aradhya is just a lot of pressure. He's under a lot of pressure right now, because 1.5 seconds is just something out of this world. But let's not forget, I mean, we can very clearly see Helium has basically no battery left on him. Round the outside, Aradhya lets him by, because he will have the DRS going into turn 1, and he has a lot of battery saved, or around 50 something percent, whereas Helium is completely out of it. So this will be a position swap, and this mild contact between the two race leaders. And is Aradhya Gupta with damage? Is he? Does he have a missing front right end plate? That's something we will have to see.
Yep, he's
Yes,
missing
that
the right.
is.
Yes,
That
indeed.
is certainly going to go to the stewards, that move, because that has caused damage to his car, and you can very clearly see how much that is affecting Aradhya. Anyways, he was slower through the S section, and yeah, now it is just impossible. So this might actually be a race over for Aradhya in terms of getting a P1. At least a podium is still not a bad place to be at, but for someone who was fighting for P1, he will surely be really frustrated.
But that is still a question, isn't it? Though he's lost 2 seconds in one sector. That is definitely slower than the rest of the pack. That 13-second advantage in the next 8 laps is still going to come down. So will he stay out? That is the question. Will he box and trying to make the deficit? Maybe even going to a set of mediums, or I'm probably soft is a bit pushing it, but yeah, that gap is definitely coming down, and that then is it's a tricky position for Aradhya right now. So we'll wait and see how he responds. But yeah, he'll definitely be fuming in that cockpit for that late move from Hacker.
I think. What is he doing? Is Aradhya gone in? Aradhya is going in, I think.
Yeah,
Aradhya has gone into the pits. Okay, it's interesting, because I was gonna say it might have been better to stay out, because Dark Knight is 12 seconds. There's about 9 or so laps left. Even if he's gaining by a second, it won't be enough. If he's gaining by, okay, maybe if he's gaining by 2 seconds, then it might be an issue. But even then, Aradhya is someone who is really, really good at defending. So I don't think he would have led those positions out. But now this fight, which was for a P3, has now turned into a fight for P2. So Sandeep Marido is guaranteed a podium, barring any issues from him. And Faizan has spun. Has managed to keep it out of the wall though, so that is good for him. And no front wing. Okay, front left end plate's gone, but no major damage, which is still good. So yeah, I mean Faizan's in the middle of nowhere, anyways. So I think it's fine if he just continues on until the end. I'm sure he's guaranteed a P6 anyways at this point. Aradhya Gupta, who's on a fresher pair of mediums, is out after repairing his wing, and he's not too far. And if anything is needed to be judged based off of his first stop, I think he is going to catch up to Oxygen and then Sandeep fairly quickly.
yeah. So the spin from Faizan is something that we missed. Apologies for that. Very well may have been Aradhya and Faizan fighting it out when Aradhya came out of the pits. It is the exit of turn two. So I wouldn't rule out the possibility that maybe there was some collision, contact, barging at the time. And I can't say for now, but that very well may have happened.
Certainly, it is hard to tell at this moment. But yeah, what we can tell for sure is that Sandeep is actually in a pretty decent spot in terms of his battery as well. James, obviously, apologies, Dark Knight having to use his battery to try and stay ahead of Sandeep. And Oxygen has actually lost a whole second, so these guys are going quicker collectively than Oxygen. Yeah, Radha's already caught up to Oxygen. That's going to be essentially a no contest between Aradia and Oxygen. I'm sure Oxygen is just gonna let him by because that pace is just not. It's impossible to hold up against. And yes, Sandeep 90% battery in a very very good spot in terms of the battery. He can use up plenty of it on this straight here. Will he be doing it or will he be conserving it? No, he is using a good amount of it. He's used up 20%, 10%. And yeah, he has the DRS, so he doesn't have much to worry about. But I'm sure Dark Knight could be quivering in his boots, looking at a kick Sauber in P3.
Oh, Radha's already there. He's pushing him through the corner. This is ridiculous. That pace difference is not fair. It's not fair to Oxygen. He deserves better. But yeah, so does Aradia, having lost 20 seconds to a pit stop for a contact. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Yeah, he's making his way back up. Now the gap is 6.3 seconds. Will Aradia get back into his prime position of P2, P3? With these two so close to each other, it'll be a little more difficult. And that advantage that Aradia has right now, he's going to be using all of that to reduce the gap. I mean, he's definitely reducing it by the corner, shall I say. But it's still not going to be a super easy move to overtake two cars in a DRS train. That always is a trickier situation, and these guys are no slouches either.
Absolutely, and one thing we shouldn't forget is that Aradia has been catching up to drivers who didn't have DRS so far. While these guys are losing quite a lot of time through corners, now when there is the DRS, that advantage is up to 8 tenths on the straight. If you have the DRS in all three zones, which Sandeep will, so it is quite certain that Aradia will be losing a decent amount of time just because not having DRS, or at least, I mean, he will gain, but just not as quick because, well, obviously, as I said, he does not have the DRS, so he's going to rely solely on pure pace and the battery pack that he has. And yeah, you can see he hasn't gained much throughout the second sector, so yeah, that's there's going to be a slight hindrance to him. Nothing too major though. Sandeep recovering a little bit of his battery before using it on the straight, and I'm sure at this point, even though they are not communicating with each other, but there is some sort of mutual agreement that has gone on between Dark Knight and Sandeep to not essentially fight it out. Because if Sandeep wanted, he could use all of his battery now and then get past Dark Knight, but then that would mean that they lose a lot of time. And with someone like Aradia coming up, I'm sure both of them would like to be on the podium rather than just one of them. So somewhere, some telepathy has certainly happened between two of them to not fight it out, stay in the DRS, and just pull each other essentially.
Well, let's hope that is the case. If not, Sandeep is in a good position. He can make the overtake when needed. He can throw Dark Knight under the bus and speed past him and then try to make that gap as Aradia comes into the picture. So he does have the ERS to do it. Now, does Dark Knight have the same? Yeah, one second. So he's got 80 as compared to Dark Knight 65. So both are essentially bracing for battle. I don't really think they are battling too much. They are going easy on the DRS. They can see that the gap isn't fluctuating too much. This tends to happen when you deploy. Then both of them are taking it easy. They know something is coming up and they need to be ready for that. So yeah, give it a minute. Give it. So go get popcorn if it gets ready so quickly. 3.5 seconds is the gap right now. Come down from 6 seconds in just 2 laps, and it's still coming down. We're expecting, if I may be AWS for a second, I am expecting the overtake to happen on the lap 24. We'll have to wait
Well, we got a couple acting as the AWS before we get an actual AWS implemented into the game. Codemasters, please fix. We have Sandeep now. Yeah, I mean, as you said, couple, they're both aware of what's upcoming, and yeah, they just try to keep it clean for now. He just saves the battery and then hope for the best because, as I said, both of them would love to be on the podium as opposed to just one of them. And in this current situation, it wouldn't be Sandeep if Aradhya were to catch up really quickly. Oxygen is disconnected, so I'm sure he'll be needing an invite back. Or actually, you could just join off of the link. Did you know we had that system? Well, of course you didn't, because you aren't in our server. So do join our server, link in the description. And as we view what is happening so far, things are a little bit calm, a little bit easy. But things could turn out well for the worse for Aradhya, especially because he has stopped gaining that time on Sandeep and Dark Knight. Okay, he's gained just a little bit here because well we have missed something because something was going on. But Sandeep Burrito now looking down the inside, and I think he's just decided to go for it. And black screen, no, wrong time. Anyways, I think Sandeep has made the move. Sandeep has made the move, going through on the exit of turn 2, and that has left Dark Knight in a really bad spot with his ERS. He doesn't have much to use up. Aradhya Gupta has caught up to these guys, so maybe that lap 24 prediction might not be it. That is gone off while he's taken the sausage curb, and he is going to lose a lot of time. So Aradhya Gupta has, well, within a second now, or just about a second of Dark Knight, who has lost plenty of time to Sandeep. So Sandeep now is just praying that Dark Knight can hold up Aradhya Gupta, something potentially, or he could do a Carlos Sainz and keep Dark Knight in his DRS so that it won't be as easy for Aradhya. So the same thing could be happening where both of them want to help each other out, or Sandeep has decided enough of helping, betrayal time, Dark Knight finish P4, I will happily take the P3.
Yeah, this is go time for Dark Knight. He's blinking, but Aradhya isn't. He's harvesting. He is in Pound's territory, but Dark Knight has nothing to defend. He's got none. He's just letting go. There's no contest. So that's a free overtake. Lap 23. So AWS is right for once. We have now Aradhya finally back in the podium positions after that mishap in lap 17, I believe, 16 or 17. Now he's gonna take back what's rightfully his. With 2 laps to go, he's got that fresher, shall I say, by 5 laps on a softer compound. Dark Knight surprisingly is keeping up, which is amazing to see.
Sorry to cut off. Can you check Sandeep's battery, please?
Oh, he's got plenty.
Some battery advantage, but he's gonna use it all in the upcoming straight anyways. So, yeah, that's gonna go in just about a second. But yeah, continue.
No, that's a good call out. He's keeping it calm and steady, but he probably knows, I don't want to dump everything. I know he's going to stick around. I know he is going to come in the next lap when he's closer, by pace, and trying to make a move. But Dark Knight isn't backing down. He's the one actually pushing Aradhya to get closer and closer. So he's trying to create drama and trying to create an opportunity through chaos as he's completely dumping his ERS. Going into the last corner, the gap is well under 3/10 of a second. Squiggly exit for Aradhya, but what will he do now? Is he going to dump? We've got 2 laps to go in the Grand Prix. 18 seconds is the gap between this trio, shall I say, and the leader, who's completely checked out. Aradhya well and truly out of ERS, so he cannot push as much. He's going to be falling back. Aradhya with those fresh medium tires. I'm going to use the word fresh. But he's going to be able to keep close to Sandeep in this twisty section. That slipstream, the dirty air is not going to be affecting him as much. As you can see, Dark Knight has just fallen out of frame. It's a 2-horse race right now. 60% is the ERS with Aradhya, and what's the situation with Sandeep? Just a little lower. So both are in decent condition, but the moment there is a pounce, you're going to see who's actually got the brains to come out on top. So don't leave your seat, folks.
Certainly not. This is not over until it is. Well, I'm not sure really what's gonna happen. I think Aradhya is just looking for a final lap pounce on Sandeep. or if Sandeep can somehow hold him back. Yeah, he has plenty of ERS. So I think, yeah, that final lap pounce, or perhaps even into turn one, that pounce could be coming up pretty soon.
So he's perfectly positioned himself. He got the apex into the final corner, which is a perfect indicator. There's deployment from both sides. He's going to go around the outside. Is Aradhya? No, he sticks early and he does
Oh
a
no!
beautiful switch back. Sandeep completely missing the buck there and gifting the position. It was a fantastic pressure um, and forced mistake from Aradhya, and he just swipes his way into P2 and he runs away with it. That was as quick as you like, clinical as you like, read the person perfectly, and yeah, Sandeep is going to be kicking himself that he wasn't able to do better.
Certainly great stuff from Aradhya over there. That is what these guys sweated out for. Just trying to find that one place where Aradhya can make a mistake. Trying to find that one place where Sandeep can screw over. Apologies, what I wanted to say. And Aradhya absolutely took the opportunity and sent it. And he has, well, gained away that position as we switch our eyes to Helium, who has been dominating essentially all of this race before that incident. We leave that up to the stewards to decide what happens with that. But for now, Helium, who actually has an end plate missing, who has led majority of the laps over here, barring two, so coming across the line to win in Jeddah, and a really good performance from him. Aradhya Gupta on an amazing comeback on the final lap, making it into P2. Sandeep Maridu for the first time this season getting a podium, and P3 for that kick Sau, but Dark Knight missing out on that P3, finishing in P4, and he sure will be disappointed. But let's not forget, Faizan, out of all things, despite having a really bad start to this race, has managed to recover quite well. And he will be wrapping up this race in P5 with Aston Martin taking a P5, P6, easy level board P6. Faizan coming across the line to confirm that P5, and a really solid drive from him.
Wow, good stories, happy stories all around. I think the big loser here is Dark Knight. He won't be too happy with the result. He had pace. He was, well, I'm not sure if it's a strategy. We'll have to check back with him a little later. But yeah, great showing from Sandeep. A very Hulkenberg like performance. But yeah, there was a big mistake in the end which costed him a P2. But yeah, at least he got something out of it.
Absolutely, and that is exactly what Sandeep would have wanted. That is exactly what Helium especially would have wanted.
Indeed,
So yeah, great
indeed.
race from everyone.
Okay, that's a hacker if you ever saw one. Fastest lap, race winner to Helium. Faizan, the driver of the day, very Alonso like.
I
Arabic
thought I can hold on by, but I made a mistake into the entry of the last corner.
Sandeep,
24. Ha!
you're in the wrong VC. One sec.
Pull me, please.
You are in live.
Oh,
Hello, Sandeep.
it's
Thank you for your live moments here as when we've just finished the race. But yeah, Hacker taking the win here with a 129.822. Surprisingly faster than Aradhya Gupta, who had those fresh medium tires in the second stint. So, I mean, this is showing you what kind of pace he had in store. He was pushing and he made it happen. Yeah. So, Sandeep with his podium, Dark Knight in P4, Python in P5. Yeah, I'm gonna go check out something else, which is all the incidents. Yeah.
All right. Time for interviews then after that very spicy race, hard fought battles.
One second, gentlemen. One second. I do not want
All.
to make a mistake like I did last time and not have everyone's voice in. Now I think you should be able to speak and the folks on stream be able to hear you. Please go ahead.
All right, amazing. So Sandeep, really hard fought battle all over. Well, the whole race essentially for you, keeping it in P2 for a couple of laps, losing it out to Aradhya because he was just flying past. Talk us through the whole race. What was going through your mind? What did you think of throughout the whole race? Because a podium was certainly on for you today.
Yeah, so yeah, to begin with, I saw the Ferrari of Darky and Aradhya. They both were on hard, so I thought at least I should clear one hard runner to make my first stint easier. And I thought if I could keep at least one of those guys behind, I essentially have an advantage in the second stint, right? Which I managed to do at turn one. It played out well, and thereafter it was just watching what the guys behind are doing, maintaining gaps where I need to maintain gaps, and it worked out well. The first stint was essentially just keeping the guys behind. And second stint, obviously, I had an undercut on Darky because I had to pit. I was on the mediums. I was on the slower tire, and he was quite quick at the beginning. It was difficult to hold him off, so I thought I'll just try to stay in his DRS. Again, that worked out well. Surprisingly, I think I had decent pace to hold on to his mediums, his fresh mediums. And what caught me off guard was Aradhya. I didn't even know that he pitted for the second time. I thought he was running a one stop. And when I saw him on the leaderboard, I thought, yeah, fine, he will be gone anyway in a matter of lap or two. And my battle is for P3 with Darky. But when I was just driving through, I saw I was able to maintain a decent gap even with my old heart. So I thought, okay, let's give it a shot for P2. Why not? And I tried my best. And the last corner of the 24th lap, the last before lap, I ran wide, which compromised my exit speed. And still, I could take it till the braking zone of turn one, but the the grip on the offline caught me off guard. It was too bad. So I went too deep. So it was just a clean pass for Aradhya, and that was it. So yeah, pretty happy with P3 second podium in this IRC league, in an IRC league for me, and a track which I enjoyed driving at. So quite good for me today.
Absolutely. I'm sure you would be delighted with that. And I think, well, that is pretty much all you could have done. We can hear you panting and sweating. So clearly not a race where you got to rest. So congrats, Sandeep, on that P3. Hopefully, we'll see you back on the podium many more times. Moving on to our P2 finisher for today, Aradhya Gupta, who had a really good start, keeping up with Helium. But then, yeah, that incident after the pit stops just essentially ruined a P1 chance, as you would say, for yourself. So, Aradhya, walk us through your race. What were you thinking, especially after that pit stop that you had to make a second unnecessary pit stop? And did you think that you would be able to recover up to P2?
Yeah, I mean, it was just a crazy race. I mean, at the start of the race, I saw Helium went on hearts, and I was initially also thinking of hearts, but then of mediums. But I was like, you know what, just chuck the mediums. I'll just save them for later. I'll just hope that my pace comes back in future. And I started on hearts with him. I somehow managed to keep up with Helium in the first stint. I had to push quite a lot. Like I mean, Helium is like a no slouch to keep up with. He's very pretty quick in this game, and yeah, I mean, I had to push all the way to my first stint to try and even stay in his DRS. I was on multiple occasions falling out, but then yeah, just kept with him, and yeah, realized that if I had to win the race, I had to do something strategically. So thought of going an undercut, went with it one lap prior to him, which gave me the lead for probably like 2 seconds ahead. But then yeah, I mean, uh, Helium's pace was just again on the news that he was just too fast. He just recovered that 2 seconds like it was nothing, and I was like on my toes at that point. But then yeah, I tried to play some DRS chicken with him, but then I think so it was my internet on my end, and I didn't realize that Helium was not as far away as I thought he was. And long story short, yeah, I just crashed into the back of him, and then I broke my wing, which forced me to do another pit stop. And I mean, I honestly, I didn't myself thought that after that even podium was on the cards, let alone P2. I mean, I thought I was just out of the race and backward, and I was like, what's the problem in trying now? My race is already kind of finished. Just push the tires till see where till where it goes. So yeah, just forgot about everything. Pushed the car to its absolute limits every lap. Since then was a qualifying lap, and then yeah, somehow found myself behind Darky and Sandeep, And yeah, I mean, I had saved up of years then, and it was just a matter of just making the moves correctly, getting past them at correct positions, and making sure that tires don't overheat, I don't do mistakes, and yeah, just
Fair
some more
enough.
match to yeah.
Fair enough. Great race from you, Aradhya. Good recovery, and I'm sure whatever has happened, you will sort it out with Helium later on. But yeah, talking about Helium, let's move on to a race winner who has dominated, I believe, 23 or perhaps 22 laps out of the 25 that we did drive today. Helium, just talk us through the Sunday cruise that you had.
Yeah, it was a good one. I mean, I did the first lap and then I had to go somewhere. Like my mom called me, so I couldn't do any other laps. But I think that was pretty good enough for pole. So that was good. Coming to the race, I think going on hards was maybe not the best idea. I mean, I think in this game I'm not great in tire saving because for both stints I was at 80% in my rears.
Oh, wow.
So basically, I could have punctured at any point. But the luck has been great. I mean, all three races, the luck has been great. But yeah, I should touch wood right now. But yeah, so the race was basic. I was just trying to keep Aradhya out of the DRS for most of the lap.
Right.
Then post pit stops, I think he was 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds ahead. I basically went, hunted him down, and I got in front of him. And then I don't know what was happening. He was gaining too quickly. So I tried to take in the inside. And I have no idea what happened after that. He just rammed into me. I mean, there was like a good 1 or 2 seconds difference before me turning and him crashing into me. So I don't know if that was a net code stuff or I have no idea. And after that, it was very basic. I tried to save my rears as much as I could, but yeah, still they went to 80%. So it was I had half of a spin on the second last lap, so I lost 5 seconds of the lead, and also my half of my ring. So maybe that was karma for whatever incident Aradhya had. And yeah, after that was yeah, just basic stuff.
Fair enough. Pretty good race from you, Helium. And yeah, well, I'm sure you're going to be hoping to be on the podium or at least on the top step, especially as the season continues. But 4 rounds in, just a little bit over halfway to go. So yeah, I'm sure that this continued pace could potentially help you win something at the end of this season. But yeah, that is it, folks. Thank you so much for joining.
One sec. Alright, yeah, that comes to the end of our podium interviews. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for the entertainment. Simply wanted to take us away. You're audible now.
Absolutely. All right. Well, yep, that was a pretty solid race despite the low numbers, and I'm sure next week onwards we will be having quite a bit more because it is a track that we have obviously never had. It is Austria reverse for F125, so that's going to be a whole new challenge for these drivers, and it's going to be a whole new challenge for essentially everyone involved because we've never dealt with something as such as a reverse track. So it will be quite fun to tune in next week, and I'm sure you guys would love to watch it as well. So do make sure to do that. If you're still on controller like Aradhya, then well, do consider moving on to a wheel by checking out our partner Race Sims. The link is in the description, and do make sure to join our server as well if you do wish to take part in these races, or if you just want to hang out with a bunch of Indians who also love the smell of well fuel. So catch you guys next week. Have a great rest of your weekend and take care. Bye bye.